Okay, guys, welcome to Talking News. Now, this is what I'm going to call Finding Kelsey Berreth. So it's going to have parts to it, and it's the girl that come up missing Thanksgiving Day in Colorado. If you don't know the story, pull up my older videos. Okay, here we go. 29-year-old Kelsey Berreth was started dating Patrick Frazee online, and they seemed to hit it off, so she moved to Colorado and lived in this townhome here where she got pregnant and had a beautiful baby little girl with Patrick. So Corporal Curran is dispatched to Kelsey's address for a welfare check. Cheryl Berreth, Kelsey Berreth's mother, called the Woodland Police Department reporting that she had not heard from her daughter, and she stated that this was highly unusual for Kelsey. Cheryl told the police that she has contacted her daughter's boyfriend, Patrick Frazee, and Patrick had told her that he had not heard from Kelsey since Sunday, 11/25/18, which would be the opposite of what he tells police later. The report goes on to read that Cheryl told me that Patrick and Kelsey had a 1-year-old daughter named Kaylee, and she is currently with Patrick. He goes on to write that Kelsey didn't have any planned vacations, and 2 vehicles belonging to Kelsey was still parked at her residence. And there was a package at Kelsey's residence in the doorway, along with a notice from Black Hills Energy. The officer calls Patrick later on that day around 1 p.m. To find out that at that time Patrick said he hadn't had any contact with Kelsey since the 25th of November. Patrick also goes on to say that he returned all of Kelsey's belongings, such as a spare key to her apartment, the extra car key, a handgun, and some other personal belongings. Patrick also told the officer that he and Kelsey had grown apart, and the extent of their relationship was their daughter. The officer asked if Kelsey has any depression problems, and Patrick says no. The officer then calls Kelsey Berreth's work, which is DOS Aviation, and speaks with the security officer. The supervisor of DOS Aviation sends a message saying that he received a text message from Kelsey last Sunday, 11/25/18, stating that she was going out of state to check on her grandmother. Cheryl goes on to tell the officer when he called to confirm that she was not aware of Kelsey traveling to see her grandmother, and that reason was because she had Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and unable to communicate on the telephone. Cheryl also informed the officer that she would not take a trip without letting her know, and that was for her own safety. Now, on December 3rd, another officer gets contact with Kelsey's mother, Cheryl. Beth Huber asked Cheryl if she had heard from Kelsey, and Cheryl informed her that she had contacted Kelsey's direct supervisor this morning. Kelsey again did not show up for work. Kelsey's direct supervisor tried to contact Kelsey with no success. Cheryl said Patrick was attempting to work with Verizon to get text messages and transcripts in an attempt to determine if Kelsey was texting and to see if the texts were provide clues as to Kelsey's location. At that point, the officer asked if she wants to report Kelsey as missing, and Cheryl says yes. So the officer contacts Patrick Frazee once again to find out when he last physically saw Kelsey. Patrick said he seen her the evening of 11/21, and they spoke on the phone. Again, Patrick Frazee tells them that Kelsey wanted to go their separate ways and pushed the fact that they were splitting the custody of the daughter 50-50. Patrick said that he went to Kelsey's house 11/22 to pick up their daughter, but no one was home. Then he said he ran some errands and then come back to Kelsey's home. Patrick said he then seen Kelsey in the alleyway leading to the residence. They spoke in the alleyway for a while where they switched off their daughter, and Patrick took her. Patrick told the police officer that he had talked to Kelsey on the phone both Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And the last time that he had talked to Kelsey, she had told him that she was going to study, and she didn't tell him where she was going. Sunday, the 25th of November, Kelsey texted Patrick and said, "Do you even love me?" And Patrick texted back, telling her that he did. Another report that I'm reading saying that Patrick said that Kelsey is dealing with depression and rehab, but the statement I read before said she wasn't, so this is a little confusing. So on page 3 of the documents that I have, they're stating that they're actually pulling for a search warrant, and that is dated 11/22/18 at 12:22 hours. So they're trying to pull up all the evidence that they can find pretty early on in the investigation. Now, police, look through everything, and they don't seem to find any evidence of a struggle or anything that stands out to them that it could be foul play. This doesn't really make sense to me that they didn't do a more entailed investigation at this point, where the mother's telling them, say, look, this isn't like her. She doesn't do things like this. But regardless, they didn't do it. Now, the police, they're searching the residence, and they observe a 2006 Toyota Corolla and Corolla. I'm sorry, I can't say it. I want to call it a crayon. And a red-colored Chevrolet pickup truck parked outside of her residence. The pickup truck was registered to Kelsey's mother, and the Toyota was registered to both Kelsey and Patrick. Now, the officer was advised that there was a package at the door the day before, and it wasn't there any longer, so she called Patrick to see if he had come by the residence. Patrick said that he had not been there, but a friend picked up the package. And what it looks like in this report, that it was for Kaylee, and it was a Christmas ornament. Now, officers did get a warrant, a search warrant execution, and conducted the following activities continuing the search for Kelsey. It says, we observed a Safeway receipt in plain view in her pickup truck. The receipt was dated 11/22/2018 at 12:24 hours. We also observed an obstructed Walmart receipt through the window. And they say they went and requested from Safeway the security video, where she was able to observe Kelsey checking out at 12:24 hours. She says, I observed she had Kaylee with her in a car seat and a shopping cart. I tracked Kelsey out of the Safeway to her pickup truck, a red Chevrolet Silverado, in the parking lot. With the unknown location on the red Silverado, I observed Safeway security video to determine when and from what direction Kelsey entered the Safeway parking lot. They checked further into the video and found that Kelsey had actually entered the Safeway parking lot from the west end of the parking lot at about 12:02 hours. Kelsey had two receipts from Safeway, one from Floral, and the second was a receipt for grocery items. Kelsey had bought a poinsettia plant, which they observed in her apartment from, I guess, the earlier search. Then the officer said that after she had unloaded her groceries and placed them in the car and the carrier in the front of the passenger seat, she got into the Silverado driver's seat and drove out the parking lot approximately 12:27 hours. Kelsey drove out of the west end of the parking lot. As the officer was obtaining copies of the Safeway video, she also contacted Walmart to see if they could review the parking lot video to determine if Kelsey had been to Walmart after she departed Safeway. She asked them to observe 11/22/2018 at 12:30 hours through 1300 hours, looking for a 2011 red Chevrolet Silverado to determine if Kelsey went to Walmart after she departed Safeway. Walmart Asset Protection Information, the officer, they did not see the Silverado. They did see a three red pickup trucks, and they give her the makes of the truck as well. They also accessed Kelsey's bank statements and found out that she had a check cleared to HOA on November 27th of 2018. The check was post-dated for November 30th, 2018. Now at this point, I believe this is where Cheryl calls. They don't state that here, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in here. Anyways, they go back out to Kelsey's residence under suspicious circumstances in Kelsey's disappearance, where they dispatch their, canine unit to search the residence and the vehicles for any kind of human decomposition. So 2 vehicles were actually towed from Kelsey's residence. They were able to obtain a search warrant for the one with that Kelsey and Patrick owned. But Cheryl Berreth owned one, and she gave them permission to search that. In one of those vehicles, they had found a sock, what looked like to have a small amount of blood, and it was located in the front passenger seat. The canine also indicated that there was a presence of human decomposition on the driver's side rear bumper area. At that point, they were able to get both of those receipts that they seen through the window, and the Walmart receipt was dated 11/22/18 at 01:50 hours. It was on the passenger floorboard, and the receipt was for two medications, and they were like Tums. At this time, they're also doing some research on Kelsey's cell phone through Verizon, and they find out that the last activity at Kelsey's phone was 11/25/18 at 1700 hours, located in Gooding, Idaho. And at 1711 hours, there was a outgoing text message to Patrick Frazie's cell phone. So at that point, the Woodland Police Department contacts the Gooding County Sheriff's detectives, and they go out to that location to check it out, where the phone last pinged. When officers arrived to the location where the phone pinged, they described it to be a large, steep gorge, and they did not locate Kelsey nor the cell phone. Now, on December 4th, 2018, the FBI sends somebody out to do a welfare check for the child, the daughter of the two. They also asked Patrick if he would provide formal statement regarding his knowledge and relationship and details about his last interaction with Kelsey Berreth and, her whereabouts. Patrick voluntarily agreed to provide a statement to the investigators, then changed his mind and requested an attorney before providing any of that information. Patrick Frazee stated he will be meeting with attorney Jeremy Lowe. Now, the FBI and the CBI agents actually talked to Cheryl Berreth again, and this was on 12/04/2018. And during that conversation, Cheryl reported she last physically spoke to Kelsey again 11/22/18. And she says she spoke to her approximately at 9 that morning. Kelsey had told her that she and Patrick and Kaylee had gone out to check on the herd of cattle on 11/21/2018. And on their way back from that trip, Patrick had become ill, requiring Kelsey to drop him off at his residence and pick up some medication and take it back to Patrick. And knowing what we know now, we probably know why he's sick. He knows this point he's been planning is coming up, and that the person he had talked into doing it wasn't doing it, and now he had to do it himself, which we'll talk about later. So Kelsey drops Patrick off at his residence, and she picks up medication and takes it back to Patrick. Now, supposedly, after they pick up the medicine and drop him off, they arrive back at Kelsey's residence around 4 a.m. in the morning. Which makes me wonder if he had originally planned to do it out there where the cattle was, and he backed out. He probably chickened out, and then he returned later. That's just speculation that is not included on this report. Now, Kelsey told her mother that she had plans, her and her daughter, to have to go out for Thanksgiving dinner. And then their conversation ended pretty quickly because a diaper needed to be changed. Kelsey Berreth said that on 11/22/18, she called Kelsey back approximately 9:15 a.m. and had a short conversation about a Christmas gift list and some related items. Cheryl made sure that the police realized that during that conversation there was no indication that there was a problem with the relationship between Patrick and Kelsey, which is odd because we've seen a message somewhere saying that the aunt knew that they were breaking up, but that's, we're not sure if that was the real aunt or not. Cheryl said that she called her daughter back 11/24/2018, and she hung up the phone before anybody could answer. It was a butt dial. And a short time after, Cheryl received a text message from Kelsey's phone stating, "I'm tied up. I'll call you later." Cheryl stated that she never received a return phone call or text message from Kelsey Berreth from then on. Now, Cheryl says that she attempted to contact Kelsey via cell phone, and Cheryl never received responses from Kelsey via text messages or phone call, thus prompting Cheryl to text Patrick Frazee and inquire about her daughter's whereabouts. Patrick returned a call to Cheryl and said that he and Kelsey had decided to end their relationship and go their separate ways. And then he said, and Kelsey, that they were sharing the custody of the child again, 50-50. Now, this is where Patrick, starts to really mess up. He said he stated that he met with Kelsey on 11/22/2018 at her residence and returned several items with her, to her, including a handgun, ammunition, keys, and both vehicle keys. He tells Cheryl, "This is the last time I've seen your daughter." He told her that he was giving her daughter some space, I guess because they had just broken up. Now, this was interesting, and why we didn't hear about this earlier, I don't know. So, the agent Slater asked Cheryl about Patrick and his behavior, and Cheryl decided to share a story regarding the birth of, their daughter. She was born 3 weeks early and required some extra medical care. And the medical care that the baby required prevented the baby from being in the room with the parents. Cheryl goes on to say that Patrick was very upset, and he became very verbally abusive with the nurses' staff, that so much so that they called social services. The baby was removed from the care of Patrick and Kelsey until safety evaluation could be done to determine if Kelsey was being physically abused by Patrick. And Cheryl stated that at her granddaughter's birthday party that Patrick had later stated that he would have killed that nurse that reported them, and then again joked about it. Okay guys, I'm gonna stop right here for now, and this is I guess this is the 7th page of the documents that I have, so there's a lot more to go. But I found it very interesting. A lot of this documentation that I'm reading, it does have some conflicts going on compared to the story that we read, as it unfolded. But I'm going to actually talk about all this after I finish reading this for some people that are not able to access it. And go over, some of what Patrick said. And later we have another person come into the story, which I really want to talk about. But first, like I said, I'm going to get these stories put on here, and then we'll talk about it. So I want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.